the CEO of Delta Airlines now saying they probably went too far on the changes to their SkyMiles system. Ed Bastian says that the airline received a lot of feedback after announcing the changes a couple of weeks ago, and now Delta's planning to walk some of this back. The new rules would have raised the threshold for Sky Lounge access, so tougher to get in, and also made it harder for people to achieve status through the Miles program, and there are a lot of people upset about that. Maybe Doug Flynn is one of them. Certified financial planner joins us, Flynn, Zito Capital Management, and thank you, sir, for coming on. It's amazing over the last couple of weeks how many people I've heard just anecdotally talking about this story. I didn't know that this was a sore subject for a lot of people, but what do you make of the way Delta's handling this? Because I guess those lounges at the airports do get kind of crowded now.
Well, that is the problem. It's almost like when you have too many people that have status, it kind of loses the allure of having the status because there are lines out the door. It's too crowded. You might as well just stay in the regular terminal. Then what's the point of me spending all this money and devoting a lot of my time and money to one airline when, you know, the people that typically don't shop always the cheapest flight want to have some benefit to their allegiance. And if that's been lost, that's, I think, what's gone on here. And a lot of these decisions, I think, are a lot of corporate decisions. They're ivory tower decisions. They probably didn't really do a good focus group with their top people and say, you know, how do we keep you from getting annoyed while we implement something that maybe would diminish the amount of people that hit these lounges.
Yeah, it's just well-off Wall Street guys like you. They don't want, you know, with the rest of us in on your lounge. That's my translation of what you said. I think it's something like that. It's basically what you were talking about. I do want to talk about at least one more topic with you that's a little bit more serious. Not that that's not serious for some people, but the economy, just broadly speaking. So at NewsNation, we did a poll. I referenced part of the political component earlier with our guest that was just on, but there was a poll that also looked at the economy. And the question was, how concerned are you about inflation? And, you know, it was a high number, 61% very concerned, 32% somewhat concerned, and, you know, 6% not too concerned at all. But what's the status right now about inflation? Maybe a year or two ago, that's all we talked about. But how do you see inflation right now?
Yeah, inflation peaked at around 9%. It's on its way down. The problem is they flooded so much money into everyone's pockets with the COVID money, and that's waning. And I think with the inflation, that ate through that a little faster. I think the administration was hoping that it would last long enough to get them through the next election, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. On the flip side, inflation has come down, but not enough for them to stop raising interest rates.
Right.
So more pain is going to happen. These people are going to run out of the rest of that money. Look, 2/3 of the people out there are really pessimistic and think the country's on the wrong track. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we all know when we go in how much more expensive everything is. We all feel that. So every day you see that. That's a daily reminder. It's like gas prices and other things that you see all the time. So that's a really severe negative that people are feeling. And unfortunately, it's going to be with us for a little bit more before it starts to wane. And eventually it will as we get into control, but it's going to take a little bit more time.
You know, the other part of that poll, which is interesting because it combines the economy and politics, is that the question was asked, important issues to consider when you're deciding who you're going to vote for. And you know, a lot of people, almost 50%, 47% said the economy, and nothing else is close right now, at least in our polling. 13% immigration, climate change, abortion, crime, all single-digit percentage-wise. So as much as we talk about all these issues all the time, or as much as we talk about the age of the current president or the issues facing the former president, it seems like the old saying, you know, it's the economy, stupid, is still out there, right? I mean, isn't that interesting?
It is. I have seen some shirts that say anyone under 80 in 2024.
Yeah, but not bad.
Besides those shirts, I think realistically it is that. I think that it's the pain, it's the wallet, it's the fact that their cash is getting tight. And once people start losing their jobs, as it is going to happen when you get into the recession, then I think it ramps up. And we kind of know that that's coming. So I think they're right to be worried. They see their cash dipping. They know how much more expensive it is. They have to work harder and longer. That is going to weigh in at the polls. There's no question about it.
And to be clear, you're predicting an actual recession. You think we'll see, which is basically 2 quarters of negative economic growth. You're saying I think what you're saying is we're going into one.
Well, you know, the only problem I have with declaring a recession is there's these 8 people at the NBER who are the ones who determine whether we're in a
But you
recession
think we'll have two negative quarters of growth anyway? You think it's going to be tough? It's going to be tough here for a while. I think.
I think even if you don't, there are technical recessions. There are what people feel.
What you feel, right?
So, and I think that's more about it than actually whether or not we officially declare a recession by those 8 folks.
No, you're right. That's always the case, because who cares what they say? If you're,
Exactly.
if you lost your job, that's the other old saying. It feels like a recession. It is for you. Thank you, Doug.